It is March 2, 2026. A commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard makes an announcement. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Any ship that tries to pass will be set on fire. Within hours, the world's oil markets go into freefall. Energy prices spike across Europe and Asia. Shipping companies halt all traffic through the strait. Insurance companies refuse to cover vessels in the region. Over 1,000 ships sit stranded on both sides of the waterway. Iraq cuts its oil production by 70%. Qatar suspends all liquefied natural gas exports. Saudi Arabia shuts down its largest oil refinery. The global economy holds its breath, all because of a strip of water 21 miles wide. This is the Strait of Hormuz, and this is why it matters to you. To understand why this matters, you need to understand what the Strait of Hormuz actually is. It is a narrow channel of water between Iran to the north and Oman to the south. At its narrowest point, it is just 21 miles wide. But through that 21 miles flows 20% of the world's oil. Every single day, 20 million barrels. Saudi Arabia's oil passes through it. Iraq's oil passes through it. Kuwait's oil passes through it. Qatar's liquefied natural gas passes through it. The UAE's oil passes through it. There is no alternative route for any of these countries, no pipeline that can replace it, no other sea passage that connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. China receives a third of all its oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Japan receives 70% of its energy through it. Europe receives 12 to 14% of its liquefied natural gas through it. If the strait closes, the world doesn't just slow down, it stops. But this waterway has been fought over for centuries, long before oil was discovered in the Gulf, long before Iran, before Saudi Arabia, before any of the modern nations that border it existed. The Strait of Hormuz has always been the key to controlling trade between East and West. In 1507, a Portuguese admiral named Afonso de Albuquerque sailed into the strait. He understood immediately what he was looking at. Whoever controls this waterway controls the trade of the entire known world. He built a fortress on the island of Hormuz, and for over a century, Portugal taxed every ship that passed through. In 1622, Shah Abbas of Persia drove the Portuguese out. With the help of the English East India Company, the English provided the naval power. In return, they received lucrative trading rights with Persia. Even then, the strait was a prize that empires fought over. The Ottomans wanted it. The Persians defended it. The British eventually took control of the entire Gulf region and held it until the 20th century. The names of the empires changed, but the geography never did. Then in 1979, everything changed. The Iranian Revolution overthrew the American-backed Shah, and Ruhollah Khomeini came to power. Suddenly, the country with the longest coastline on the Persian Gulf was no longer a Western ally. It was a hostile revolutionary state, and it sat directly on top of the Strait of Hormuz. From that moment, Iran understood something very clearly. The strait was not just a waterway, it was a weapon. Every time the West threatened Iran, Iran threatened the strait. Every time sanctions were imposed, Iran's hand moved toward the strait. Every time diplomacy failed, the ghost of a closed strait haunted global energy markets. For nearly 5 decades, Tehran used the threat of closure as its ultimate bargaining chip. But they never actually did it, until now. The closest the world came before 2026 was during the Iran-Iraq War. Between 1980 and 1988, Iran and Iraq fought one of the bloodiest conflicts of the 20th century, and both sides turned the Persian Gulf into a battlefield. Iraq attacked Iranian oil tankers to cut off Tehran's revenue. Iran retaliated by attacking tankers carrying Iraqi oil. Then they started attacking any tanker from any country. It became known as the Tanker War. Over 500 ships were attacked in the Persian Gulf between 1984 and 1988. The world's oil supply was under threat for the first time in the modern era. The United States intervened directly. Operation Earnest Will, the largest American naval convoy operation since World War II. U.S. Navy warships escorted Kuwaiti oil tankers through the Gulf. In April 1988, the USS Samuel B. Roberts hit an Iranian mine. The U.S. Navy retaliated with Operation Praying Mantis. the largest American naval surface battle since World War II. In one day, the U.S. sank or damaged half of Iran's operational navy. But even then, the strait stayed open, because Iran needed it open too. Iran's own oil exports passed through it, and closing it completely would have destroyed Iran's economy along with everyone else's. That calculation changed in 2026. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran, Operation Epic Fury. Within hours, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was dead, and Iran made a decision that no one had made before. They closed the strait, not with threats, not with warnings, with drones. Iran didn't need a naval blockade. It didn't need mines or missiles. A handful of cheap drones in the vicinity of the strait was enough. Insurance companies stopped covering ships. Shipping companies halted all traffic. The strait closed itself through fear alone. Within days, Iraq had cut oil production by 70%. Saudi Arabia shut down its largest refinery. Qatar suspended all LNG exports. Global oil prices surged more than 10% in days. Analysts called it the worst disruption to global energy markets since the 1970s oil embargo. The United States offered to escort ships through the strait. Trump threatened Iran with further strikes if the strait was not reopened. Iran dared him to try, and the world watched as the 21 miles that control the global economy became the most dangerous stretch of water on Earth. So what does this mean for you? If you drive a car, you feel this. If you heat your home, you feel this. If you buy food that was transported across an ocean, you feel this. The Strait of Hormuz is not a distant geopolitical problem. It is the reason your energy bill is rising. It is the reason global inflation is climbing. It is the reason the world's largest economies are holding emergency meetings. For 500 years, empires have fought over this 21-mile strip of water. The Portuguese, the Persians, the Ottomans, the British, the Americans. Each one understood what every generation before them had understood. Whoever controls the Strait of Hormuz controls the world's economic lifeline. And right now, Iran controls it. Not because they have the most powerful navy, not because they have the most advanced weapons, but because geography gave them something no army can take away: the ability to make the world stop. History is not something that happens in textbooks. It is happening right now, in a 21-mile stretch of water between Iran and Oman. This has been Beyond the Textbook, where history goes deeper than what you were taught.